Thanks, everybody. For those who haven't met me yet, and I think I have met everybody here, I'm Tom Cook. I'm NORA's campaign manager. I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. It's a big night for NORA. We're going to have a press conference. She's going to deliver a speech. She's going to take some questions from the reporters that are here. And I'm really looking forward to it, as she's going to talk about the issues. Last couple months I've gotten to know NORA pretty well. She's very smart, very driven, very motivated, very hard-working woman. And I think she'd make a great senator, great state senator here in District 11. So I'd like to introduce, without any further ado, NORA Marino, Democrat State Senator.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Some distinguished guests here, our Assemblywoman and Margaret Croza. I'd like to thank you for coming. District Leader Jimmy Wren, District Leader Martha Taylor, Honey Miller, Kay Glover, and our candidate for the Assembly, who's a shoe-in, Rory Lansman. And my dear friends, we have Dee Richards from the Bayside Times, and John Tazzi and Ellen Thompson, also from John's from the Bayside Times and Ellen's from the Tribune, and my dear friends who are here to support me, I want to thank very much. We're about 6 weeks out from Election Day, and Tom and I thought it'd be a good idea to just get the press together and some people together and talk about this election and this campaign and some of the issues and why I'm running. I'm running because we're living in a state that has been labeled the most dysfunctional state government in the country, and we attribute that really to the Republican majority in the state Senate, which has been a roadblock and caused tremendous gridlock for any meaningful change. And it's time to do something about that, and I want to do something about that. And that's really what got me started with this whole thing. And the more I've learned about what happens in Albany, what happens in the Senate, the more disgusted I've become, and the more driven I've become to do something about it and to take this seat. This is a Democratic community. We're 3-1 Democratic in District 11. That is our seat, and we need to take it back.
That's right.
Yeah. We have Elliot Spitzer, as you all know, who's a star in the state of New York and who is going to, in all likelihood, I mean, if I was a betting woman, I would bet on this, in all likelihood going to take the gubernatorial seat this year. Elliot wants reform. Elliot can get reform if he has a Democratic state Senate behind him. He's already got the Assembly. If he can have a Democratic state Senate, we can see tremendous change in this state, tremendous progress, tremendous reform. And I'd like to be part of Elliot's team to make this happen. Elliot needs friends in Albany, and we can put friends there. We're only 4 seats shy of taking that majority in the Senate. The Republicans that are there now in the Senate don't want change. And if you think about it, why would they? They have these cush jobs, they have their incumbencies, they have gerrymandered the district, they have done everything in their power to keep things the way they are. They don't want change. They're happy and they're comfortable. But that's not, we're not electing people into office so they can be comfortable. We're electing them in there to serve us. And they're not serving us, they're serving themselves. And that's why they need to go. And that includes my opponent here in this district, Frank Padovan, who's been a part of this majority for 34 years. He's been a part of it when it started, he's been a part of it while it's continued, and he's a part of it now. He's a part of this dysfunction, and he's a part of this gridlock, and he's a part of this cushy comfort that does not serve the people. Some of the reforms that Elliot wants to engage are campaign finance reform, lowering the amount of money people and corporations can donate to candidates, controlling lobbyists more, controlling gift giving. All these things will help make the electoral process fair, will help get committed individuals into state government, and help with the reform. When people ask me particular issues, it's kind of a catch-22 because it's really putting the cart before the horse. We can't really tackle particular issues until we get Albany together, until we reform Albany. We're putting the cart before the horse. We cannot address all these particulars while we have this gridlock up in the Senate. And Elliot is going to tackle that. I know Elliot's going to do a good job at that, and especially if he has Democrats like myself there to help him. I wanted to point something out about my opponent here, Senator Padovan. I've noticed that on all of his literature, his posters, his lawn signs, his palm cards, his pamphlets, his anything. There's one word that he does not mention. Does not mention the word Republican.
That's right.
Now, I have the word Democrat proudly displayed on every piece of literature that I have. I'm proud to be a Democrat. I'm proud to be part of this party. I'm proud to be part of this team. Because the Republicans are failing their constituents. They're failing their constituents on a national level, right down to the local level. They're failing up in Washington. In Washington, they're failing. Our presidential administration is proven to be a disaster, and it trickles down right here to our local government. The Republicans are not serving the people. They are not putting the people's interests first. They're putting big business and special interests first, and it's not what we're electing people into office for. We need Democrats. The Republican vision and the Republican philosophy is not working. People are not happy with the way things are. If they were, why would Frank Padovan, who's been in office for 34 years, not be advertising the fact and waving the flag that he's a Republican? He doesn't want you to think about that. He doesn't want people to think about the fact that he's a Republican. Why not? I have Democrat underlined. I have it bolded. I mean, I want people to know I'm a Democrat. I'm proud to be a Democrat. Because the Democrats are going to be the ones that are going to turn this country, this state, and this community around. I'm convinced of that. Yes. And Lori Lansman in our assembly. We have wonderful district leaders. We have what we need as far as our people go in our assembly and in our districts. The Senate is what we're missing in this state. We are missing it in the Senate. Not by much, though. By 4 seats. I believe that this year we're going to do it. We're going to do it with Elliot Spitzer at the top of the ticket. And I want to be a part of his team to engage the reform that he has planned. He cleaned up Wall Street. We know he did wonderful things. He put individuals first before big business. He did that with the stock exchange. He did that with the insurance industries. We have pharmaceutical companies running amok right now. There were Democrats in the Senate that had great ideas, shot down. They had great ideas for environmental bills, shot down. Energy bills, shot down. Reform, shot down. Freedom of information, shot down. This can't continue. This is not where we elect officials. This is not what we pay our politicians to do. We pay our politicians to serve the people. They're not serving the people. I want to serve the people. I want to be on Elliot's team to serve the people. And I want to thank everyone for coming out here and supporting me. And please vote Democratic. I know everyone in this room is going to, almost everyone. And please get all your friends to vote. This is an important year. This is a crucial year. We can take the Senate. Once we have Elliot at the top of the ticket and we have a Democratic Senate along with our Democratic Assembly, we are going to do magic in this state. Thank you. Where are our reporters? Do we have any questions?
We'll do the Q&A with our reporters over here.
You've criticized Padovan in the past for claiming that he doesn't support education funding. He was recently endorsed by the UFT. Do you have any thoughts or response on that?
Yes, I do. He shouldn't have been endorsed by the UFT because he's not their friend. This is another example of the pay-to-play politics in Albany. That's a clear example. Frank Padovan did nothing with respect to the Campaign for Fiscal Equity. This is a lawsuit that went on for 13 years. They held up $11 billion in education funding for our students here. He sat quietly. He didn't do anything about it. This past March, a decision came down by First Department judge ordering that $5 billion of that $11 billion get dispersed pursuant to a referee's report. So we got that money. Frank Padovan actually took credit in an interview in July for having something to do with that, which was absurd. He had nothing to do with that. It was absurd that he made that remark, that it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't there. He said something like that. So I don't know why he's endorsed by the UFT. He shouldn't be. And I don't really have an answer other than that. He's not their friend. If he was their friend, we would have had this $11 billion 13 years ago. Any other questions? Ellen? No.
John, any follow-ups?
All set.
Anyone else have any questions?
No. Were you going to mention anything else about the...
Laura?
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, may I just ask you something on women's issues? How does Frank stand?
Frank is terrible on women's issues.
Okay,
Frank is anti-choice. Frank is anti-women's health, reproductive rights. He's proven that again and again. He's endorsed by the Right to Life Party. He runs in the conservative line, so he can paint himself to be anything he wants. He's a conservative. He's a conservative right to lifer. He's one of only 10 state senators that voted against the Women's Health and Wellness Act, which was a bill that would have required insurance companies to cover women-related issues such as mammograms, bone density tests, certain gynecological tests. He voted against that. So he's basically telling women, you pay for your own testing. The guys, your stuff will be covered, but you women, you pay for your own testing. He's not a friend of women either. And I don't know of any women's groups who've endorsed him, thank God.
No.
I know I'm your campaign manager, but I have a question. What would you say to Senator Padovan if and when you and he are going to share the same stage?
I'd be more than happy to debate Senator Padovan anytime. I think the issues should be put out there for the people to decide. This is America. This is about choice. It's about open government. Well, it's supposed to be about open government, which is one of the things that we need to reform in Albany, because the state Senate doesn't seem to think that they should have to abide to the Freedom of Information law, which is another thing that needs to be addressed on the reform issue. But I'd be happy to debate Senator Padovan anytime he'd like.
I'd love to close with that.
Because I think you're passionate about these things, and I think it's terrific.
Thank you.
You'll review the tape tomorrow.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you very much. I do feel strongly about these things because, as I said, the more I've learned, it boggles my mind, and I don't know how else to put it. Because you think, growing up, especially like going to law school and all this stuff, that government, takes care of the people. And the more I've learned, it's atrocious what goes on, and this pay-to-play and these under-the-table deals. The UFT is a perfect example. Why did they endorse him? I can't figure it out.
That's all.
Excuse me, Martha?
He's the incumbent.
He's the incumbent. He's the incumbent. Well, what does that mean? Are people scared if they don't endorse him? They're going to lose things? Is there a threatening going on? Is there bullying going on? We don't know what's going on. But that's wrong. The UFT has no reason to endorse a state senator who's done nothing to get $11 billion of funding into the schools. It flies in the face of reason.
I mean, just to clarify, when you said pay to play, it's not as though they only endorse incumbents, because in the Maltese race they've made no endorsement, is my understanding.
There's none.
Sorry?
There's none. If it's not an incumbent, it's nothing.
Right, but they're not automatically endorsing all the incumbents. They haven't endorsed.
Well, I think they're endorsing most of them, and I don't know what the situation is in the Maltese race with the UFT and their endorsement process. But all I know is this race, and they have no reason to endorse Frank Padovan. There's just no logical reason. So it's obviously a reason that we don't know. It's obviously that it's something that's not public. It's not public knowledge, because I don't know what it is. I don't think anyone in this room can figure out what it is. But they have some reason, some unknown, mysterious reason why they're endorsing him. But he did not help to get $11 billion of education funding into this community and into the city. So I see no reason for him to endorse him. But that goes, for other groups too. I've seen it with unions, and the system's not good the way it's working. It's just the Republican philosophy and vision is failing the people. Period. End of story. It is time to put Democrats in office locally, statewide, and nationally.
Anybody else, any more questions?
Morris.
Nora, Frank has been in office for 34 years. Is that what you mentioned?
Yes, sir.
This is your first shot.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your political background has been a very successful practicing attorney. You feel that you can come against him on a political basis with 34 years of experience?
Yes, I do, and I'll tell you why. And I think I said this at my kickoff event, I don't think what makes somebody a good politician or a good elected official is experience, or name recognition, or showing up at a barbecue and eating a hot dog and getting your picture in the paper. That's not what makes someone a good elected official. What makes someone a good elected official is what's in their heart. And I said this at my campaign kickoff event, back in July, and I still believe it should be true. If you believe in what's right and wrong, and you believe in what's just and fair, and you believe in serving the people, you're going to make a good elected official. Period, end of story. You don't need anything else. That's the only ingredient you need. You need a desire, drive, ambition, and a sense of justice. And that's what's going to make anyone a good elected official, and I think I have those things.